Hey guys, welcome back. So today we're out here taking a look at the Lionheart LH9N Mk II. This is in essence a South Korean K5 9mm service pistol, but it's being imported into the United States by Lionheart Industries. At one point the K5 pistol came into the United States in the early 90s. It stopped around 1999 and it was imported as the DP51. This is the same handgun, although it's had some changes made to it. First of all, you'll notice it has a Cerakote finish, has more aggressive slide serrations, has some serrations across the top here, and of course it's wearing, in this case, Novak night sights, and of course these polymer diamond black grips, which are different from the military grips of the K5 service pistol. So that's what we're going to take a look at this afternoon, this interesting pistol, which is what's called a double action plus. You'll notice when I fire the pistol, watch the hammer. I can preset the hammer by partially pulling the trigger. It cocks it, very light trigger pull, and then it'll fire single action. When I'm done firing, I can just push the hammer forward and reholster the pistol, making it safe. So let's take a closer look at this handgun. The LH9 comes in a couple of different flavors. The handgun that I have here is the LH9N Mk II, which is the very top of the line in their product offering. This one features night sights, which are Novak night sights, which is what the N in the model number denotes. They also have Novak sights that don't have the tritium inserts. This one also features a 1913 style rail here across the bottom, so you can put lights on the handgun if you want to. And also this one has a two-tone finish. I have the flat dark earth lower and the black upper. You can get a compact model or a C model, which is even smaller than this one, and this one's not all that big. I'll talk about that more here in a second. And then they also have just a standard LH9, which is more like the military version of the handgun, although it's much cleaner. It still has the same slide serrations and things like that, which we'll talk about too here in a second. But it just features standard sights and a monotone finish like black. So that's the entry level all the way up to the top of the line, which is the handgun that I have here. Now let's talk about the slide serrations. This is very similar to the South Korean K5 pistol, which has been in service with the South Korean military for over 20 years. Right around 1989, they adopted the handgun. So it's a well-vetted, well-tested handgun. What the LH9 is an upgraded version of that. It's still manufactured by Daewoo. This is not the DP51 that came into the country in the 1990s and stopped around 1999. It's the same base handgun, but what Lionheart has done a couple of things that really upgraded the handgun to make it even more appealing to American shooters. One of the things that they've done is increased the size and the grip of these slide serrations and added forward slide serrations. Much better than the military slide serrations on the DP51 or the K5. You also have forward slide serrations so you can do your press checks if you'd like to. Another thing that the handgun features is not serrations, but kind of like I would call it, yeah, I guess it is kind of serrations or wavy lines across the top of the slide. Some folks feel that that reduces glare off the top of the slide when you're shooting. I really don't notice that big of a difference between handguns that have it and handguns that don't, but it certainly looks sharp across the handgun, across the top of the handgun. And the machining is impeccable on this handgun. You think that it would be, or perhaps you might have in your mind that it's like an entry-level handgun, it's just a military handgun that's gussied up. This thing is beautifully machined, and the fit and finish on it is superb. The slide moves on the frame very, very smoothly, almost as if it were custom fit, although I know it's not, but it's just that smooth. It's a very smooth action, feels really good. The handgun features also an ambidextrous safety. You have it here on this side and on this side. And let's talk about some of the modes of operation, or modes of carry you can carry this handgun in. First of all, it's a traditional double action. Make sure that the weapon's clear here. It's a traditional double action. What you saw me do just now was what's called double action plus. You can chamber around in the handgun, and the safety is on right now, so you can manipulate the slide on the handgun with the safety on. So I have the safety on. I just, and pretended that I chambered around. I didn't just chamber around. And now the hammer's back. I can push that hammer forward, and now the trigger pull goes to more like a double action pull in terms of length of pull, but it's very light. Let me take the safety off. It's very light to start the trigger pull. Notice how I can just easily push that trigger back. The hammer draws to the rear. Now it's just in a traditional single action mode. Now you can of course just fire the pistol. You can also carry it in double action mode, which is just a traditional double action, but you can also carry it with the safety on. With the safety on, it disables the trigger, the gun won't fire. With the safety off, you pull the trigger and it draws the hammer to the rear and fires it. Of course, the slide will then cycle, setting it to single action, and then you'll have to fire it again. Once in single action mode, again, you can put the safety on and carry it like a 1911. It disables the trigger and it's safe to carry that way. Or, as I like to carry it, with the double action plus. Just push that hammer forward and you have that light setup and then a single action fire. So there's very little difference between the double action plus and single action other than that first trigger pull, which is just a little bit longer than a standard single action trigger. Now let's talk about why I think that's safe to carry. I know that Nick Leghorn felt that in his review on Truth About Guns, he felt that this was a dangerous mode of carry, and I don't agree with that. I actually think it's a pretty handy mode of carry, especially if you have a good holster like this G-code OSH, which is available on the Lionheart website. This G-code covers the trigger. It's no more dangerous than carrying a G19 or a Smith & Wesson M&P with a striker-fired pistol with a really light single-stage trigger. If you cover the trigger, you're going to do just fine, at least in my opinion. So you have a number of different carry options. The one thing I would change, though, that I don't really care for is the manual safety. I would never use it. And the manual safety is a little bit different than it's in the same spot as a 1911, it's ambidextrous, but it's a little bit different than a 1911, which I'm used to because it hinges on the front of the safety and not on the rear like a 1911. So brushing the safety off is very easy and very natural, but putting it back on is a little bit more difficult. I have to adjust my grip because I'm pushing on the back side of the safety to put it on, not the front part of the safety like a 1911. But really, that's the only ding about the ergonomics of the pistol that I have. I just prefer that it didn't have that safety. I don't like safeties on handguns. But at least it doesn't have a grip safety. Overall, I think functionally this handgun gives you a lot of different options, and I really like them. So let's talk about some of the magazines that are available for the handgun. I did show you the 13-round magazine, which I have here. The 13-round magazine fits flush. And now my grip on the pistol, my hand drops down below the pistol grip. It's a very small pistol grip, about G19 sized. I have the option of also carrying it with a 15-round magazine, which protrudes slightly from the bottom of the grip, which now I'm able to get a full grip on the handgun. For concealed carry, I would carry it with a 13-round magazine because it feels good and conceals nicely. This is the most important dimension when you're trying to hide a handgun under a shirt, is the butt of the pistol. And this 13-round magazine allows me to carry it very easily concealed. It also has a 4.1-inch barrel, so it's not very long, making it an ideal carry handgun. So we have the 13-round magazine, we have the 15-round magazine, and here's something that's really cool. This gun is very closely related to the Smith & Wesson 59 series of 9mm pistols. So close, in fact, that this is a Smith & Wesson 59-06 9mm magazine. I think it's a 15-shot magazine. It'll fit into the handgun. Now, it just slightly protrudes, kind of like the 15-round magazine does from Lionheart Industries, slightly protrudes from the bottom of the gun, and it functions 100% in my shooting. I have a bunch of these magazines because I have a 59-06, and you'll notice it locks the slide open. However, in actual firing, I've noticed that the 59-06 magazine, sometimes it does not lock the slide open on the last shot fired. So I would use these in practice. They would be ideal for that. It gives you another option when finding or trying to buy magazines for your handgun. I have purchased additional magazines from Lionheart for my LH9 from their website, and they shipped quickly, so these appear to be in ready supply or ample supply. I'm sorry, it's kind of cold out here. My hands are cold, my lips are freezing. So anyway, overall, I'm pretty impressed with the handgun. Let's talk about the holsters again. The OSH from G-code is available on the Lionheart website for $38. This holster is really cool because with the G-code modular system, you can take things like this thigh holster, put it on here, lock it in place, and now I have a thigh holster for the LH9. And of course, you can get different types of holsters or attachments for the G-code quick attach system that you see here for the holsters. They also, I believe, offer another holster that has the military type or Safari Land type strap across the top. Travis Haley also makes I guess it would be Haley's company makes the MkII holster for, I think it's $69, which is also available on the Lionheart Industries website. So you have a number of different holster options for your handgun right out of the gate when you purchase the handgun.
Hey, I'm at the Big 3 East industry event, and Tim Harmson from the Military Arm Channel was nice enough to allow me to play with Lionheart Industries LH9 Mk II pistol. This is a commercial variant of the South Korean K5 military pistol, and it's really kind of neat and a little bit different than what you normally see. About the size of a Glock 19. As such, you know, it's fairly compact. It'd make a nice carry pistol, but it's got this weird triple action firing mechanism. It shoots regular double action. You can shoot it single action, but you can also just slide the hammer forward, and then when you pull it, it stacks just before it breaks. Gives it a very unique feel. And I have to say, as an old high power shooter, I kind of like it. Very interesting pistol. It's got a nice Cerakote finish. It's got night sights on it. Feels good in the hands. Very smooth shooting. This might be something that you might want to check out for a carry gun. Interesting. It's been in service. The basic design has been in service for about 20 years or so with South Korea. And I just really appreciate having the chance to check it out.
The LH9 draws its design inspiration from a few notable handguns in history. The Walther P38, which really was an advanced handgun for the time, its grip angle is almost identical to the LH9. It's kind of crazy how closely these two mirror each other in terms of the grip. And of course, this is, oops, almost dropped it. The Walther P38 has a double action trigger pull much like the LH9. But another handgun that the LH9 draws from in history is the Browning High Power. The Browning High Power employs the dropping breech mechanism pioneered by John Browning, and disassembly of the LH9 is very similar. Of course, the High Power was one of the first 9mm to employ a 13-round magazine, something that the LH9 uses in its flush-fitting magazine, a 13-round magazine. And then finally, the Smith & Wesson 59 series, in this case a 5906. Matter of fact, the two are so similar internally in terms of mag well dimensions and things like that. I can take the magazine right out of the Smith & Wesson and insert it into the LH9. I'm going to show you guys something else here really quick. If you live in the colder northern states like I do, you may find yourself wearing a glove for protection from the elements. Now, I carry a Glock 19, and I can't get to my pistol's trigger with these gloves on. Now, these are just the tactical gloves I like to wear even in the summertime sometimes. These are the thicker version of the Impact series from Mechanics, but I can't get my trigger finger in the trigger guard of my Glock 19. Now, if you carry a double action pistol like the LH9, that's not a problem. Let me go ahead and grab the Smith & Wesson magazine. This is the 5906 magazine. I want to show that it works in the pistol. But and let's go ahead and put it in double action mode. I'll put it in double action plus mode. But if you want to be able to get to your concealed carry pistol with a gloved hand on, you're going to want to carry something other than a Glock 19. In my case, my plan is if I have a gloved hand on, I'm going to strip the glove off my hand before I go for my pistol. But if you're carrying a double action pistol like this, you won't have to do that. You can fire it with the gloved hand. Disassembly of the LH9 is pretty much just like a Browning High Power, a 1911, or even a 5906 for that matter. First, you want to make sure that the gun is empty. I have the magazine out. Look inside the chamber, make sure that it's empty. All right, you'll notice you have a pin that protrudes through, which is just the slide stop, but it's hidden somewhat behind this trigger bar, which is very reminiscent of a Beretta M9 pistol. But what you want to do is draw the slide to the rear to where the slide stop is. Just draw that to the rear, right about there. You can actually just pull that pin straight out. You don't even need to push on the other side. All right, once you have that pin out, you can just slide off the frame. You can see inside there. All right, inside you're going to see pretty much just a standard Browning type action. You do have a plunger here for an internal firing pin safety. You take your guide rod and spring out. The spring and guide rod easily come apart. And you just push up on the barrel hood and draw the barrel out through the rear. And you'll notice it has a Browning type action on it. And of course you have two locking lugs like a 1911. Put it back together, just drop the barrel in. Put your spring and guide rod back in the pistol. Put the slide on the frame. Line everything up, just kind of draw it to the rear a little bit. Stick the pin in. And push it straight through once you get everything lined up. There you go. And that's it. All right, guys, it's time for some final thoughts on the Lionheart Industries LH9 pistol. Overall, I'm very pleased with the fit and finish of the handgun. Really is second to none. The machining is flawless. It looks like a very high-quality pistol. I've let a number of people shoot this handgun. Everybody seems to like it. I took it to the Iraq veteran shoot last year, let Eric and Barry shoot it, and they both really enjoyed the handgun. And everybody else I've let shoot the handgun really likes it. It is a little bit smaller, so it's great for concealed carry. Has a 4.1-inch barrel, has a little bit shorter grip, so it's going to conceal nicely. And again, the fit and finish on the thing is flawless. I really like that Cerakote finish. I put Cerakote on a number of my rifles and handguns, so it's something that I actually kind of prefer. Now the handgun is a little bit salty. This handgun that you see here, the top of the line model is $769, and then you can get a base model. The very entry-level handgun is $675. And all that pricing information is available on the Lionheart Industries website, which I will put a link to in the description below. So if you're in the market for a double-action handgun, I would actually put this fairly high on the list, and you should take a closer look at it, of course, if the price is agreeable with you. The Double Action Plus is a feature that really sets this handgun apart. You're able to push the hammer forward on a live round. It does have an internal safety in here, so it's safe in case you drop it. But that light trigger pull that sets it up for single action and fires is just something that really sets the handgun apart on the market from other double action autos. But of course, if you want to carry it in a traditional double action mode, you can. It's in traditional double action mode where I have that heavy trigger pull, pulls to the rear, draws the hammer back, and then fires it. And of course, the next round is then single action. So it's a full-featured pistol, but like I said, it is a little bit expensive, but if you're out bargain shopping for a handgun, this isn't the handgun for you. But if you're looking for something that's unique, like this pistol is, this thing's certainly going to fit the bill. I really like the handgun. If you guys have any questions about anything you've seen in this video, you can ask those questions on our Facebook page. You can find us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/military arms. You can also find us on Google Plus and the Bang Switch blog. I'll put links to all that stuff down below. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll talk to you guys soon.